Empire City, the ascent of Dustin Vincent. The shadows in the lower sector didn't just fall, they pooled like oil. Dustin navigated the labyrinth of rusted scaffolding and corrugated iron shanties that clung to the edges of the Great Sink, the massive void from which Empire City was intended to rise. The air was a thick soup of metallic dust and the collective breath of thousands who would never know life without the hum of the city's anti-gravity turbines. Every few minutes, a massive discharge of thermal waste vented from the construction rigs above, sending waves of artificial heat that made the grime on Dustin's suit feel like a second, heavier skin. He moved with a practiced, rhythmic gait, keeping his head down to avoid the gaze of the enforcers, heavy-set men with cybernetic ocular implants that scanned for unregistered DNA. Beside him, a line of workers with permanently curved spines trudged toward the incinerators. They were the bottom feeders, born in the darkness, destined to fuel the very island that would leave them behind. The closer he got to the ascent elevator, the more the world transformed into a grotesque parody of beauty. Massive holographic billboards displayed new You advertisements, showing clones with porcelain skin and elementals radiating controlled fire, a cruel taunt to those standing in the mud. Dustin's vision blurred, a flash of a different skyline momentarily overlaying the nightmare. The shadow was restless, whispering that this world was a stitched-together lie. He knew the agents were on him before he saw them, that cold prickle on the back of his neck synchronized with the thud of heavy boots. He adjusted his collar and picked up his pace, weaving through a group of twitchy elementals arguing over a leaked canister of liquid oxygen. Finally, the great ascent came into view, a massive pillar of white light and polished carbon fiber piercing through the ceiling of the lower sector. It was the only way up. Dustin reached into his pocket, fingers brushing the forged identification chip. He stepped toward the light of the checkpoint. But the intuition that guided him proved to be a cruel trick. The melodic chime of authorized warped into a harsh blare. 3 agents in dark suits were on him instantly, pinning him against a crystal pillar with gravity batons. The massive Russian watched with a grin that promised a brutal second meeting. They hauled him to a trash chute airlock and kicked him out into the void, just as the city began its first true tilt toward the heavens. He slammed into safety netting meant for construction debris, gasping for air that tasted like wet iron, watching the paradise of gods drift out of reach. But his foresight flickered again. This time, it showed a path through the wounds of the city. He found it at the underbelly's medical quarantine wing. When the guard commanded him to lower his trousers for the mobility scan, Dustin hesitated, then let the fabric fall. His legs were mangled, skeletal things, thin, bone-white, and twisted. The guard doubled over and vomited. The nurse's eyes rolled back and she collapsed. In the sudden silence, Dustin moved with predatory agility, overriding the security console and slipping into a vertical maintenance shaft just as the city's primary thrusters began to rumble. He was a parasite, clinging to the underbelly of a god, ascending into a heaven that didn't want him. As the city broke the atmospheric seal, Dustin wedged himself between vibrating coolant pipes and watched the curve of the earth appear. In the darkness of the service shaft, he mastered the shadow, weaving light to hide his ruined legs with an illusion of healthy ones. He slipped into the ghost walk, navigating branching corridors of time, seeing burning cities, falling corpses, and handshakes with the Russian in rooms filled with gold. He saw a quieter New York that felt more real than the crystal paradise around him. He opened his eyes. The shadow had shown him a path, and for the first time, he believed he could take it all. Year 2044. The pressurized transport hub hummed with anticipatory energy as Dustin shuffled forward in line for the Empire City launch. A flash of silver hair caught his eye. Crystal. She was breathtaking, with circuit-like tattoos and a dress that shimmered like liquid mercury, but her personality fractured violently. Shy and ear, the next, vicious and full of venom. Their charged encounter unfolded as they moved through security. Crystal begged him to help her stop the launch, whispering that Empire City wasn't salvation, it was the final cage. Then her personality would switch, and she'd snap at him with biting rage. Dustin met her gaze steadily. That's exactly why I'm here. I didn't come to board that shuttle. I came to burn the whole thing down before it leaves the ground. Crystal's eyes widened, then hardened again. Just blow the damn thing already, before I change my mind and slit your throat for dragging me into this. Together, they slipped into the restricted service corridors, heading toward the main control room as the city prepared for launch.